Good afternoon, everybody. I've got an exciting announcement. You're probably already reading it right now on the screen, but I'm pleased to share that I'll be that Helping Organisations Thrive podcast will be partnering with Lodge Court, who are experts in HR. This podcast is all about helping organisations thrive, and as much as leadership and culture play a role, the role of HR plays a significant one in establishing those organisations to thrive, and that is why I'm partnering with Lodge Court. And today on the show, I have Ian Moore. I'm going to bring him in right now, who is the founder and MD of Lodge Court. Good to see you, Ian.
Good to see you, Julian. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yes, and how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, it's a great sunny Friday. Good finish to the week to spend some time with you, and of course to share the collaboration and the news of working with you more closely in the future. So we're very excited, and as I said, great way to finish a Friday.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited by this collaboration. I think it's more than just on the podcast. Other things may come out of this, and I think just working as businesses together is really quite key. And but I wanted to sort of showcase you and your business right now. I think this is really important, and why we've sort of created this sort of partnership. And so I'll ask a bit more about, and this is the question I always ask every guest who comes on this show, and you will be appearing on the show in the coming months as well, to provide your insights from a HR perspective to help those organizations thrive. So what do you love about what you do, Ian?
I think the key thing is actually helping organizations and people achieve the best that they possibly can. And that's the buzz, that it's not necessarily just about the policies and the processes. They're really important, so don't get me wrong. It's much more about having that and then enabling businesses and the people within them to be the best that they can, which is a bit of a cliche, but when you work with a business or a client group, and then when you leave, they're in a much better place. That's like the biggest buzz we can have, which is why we're passionate about what we do.
When did you realize that this was your passion of helping sort of SMEs?
Probably about 10, 15 years ago, when I've done some seriously serious roles and worked for an SME, and it was such a different environment of the impact that you can have quite quickly. Perhaps from when you work for a corporate or a bigger organization, the impact's less. Actually seeing the difference that some very practical, insightful and pragmatic approaches can actually take to get people on the right track to become better. And that's such a buzz. So I'd say about 10, 15 years ago was when I had that eureka moment of, this is probably something that I want to be able to do and I'm passionate about. So therefore, let's go and see who else we can help.
And just, I guess, building upon that, and almost, what was the motivation that got you to start sort of Lodge Court, and what have been sort of the key values that sort of drives your sort of company culture?
The company culture, we build it up around 4 values. So we've got integrity, we've got creating value for our clients, the knowledge that we have, but the key one for us is passion. So all the people that work with us, either clients or as part of the team, well, they have to be passionate about people, about HR. So why did I start Lodge Court? It was purely for that. We were just working with a number of different people, and it suddenly became clear that there's a need, and when there's a need, you start looking at it to be able to provide organizations with the toolkits that they need to be successful. And that's how it grew. It just grew out organically. It's grown out of reputation and referrals, and it's just grown at a nice pace, which allows us to continue to support the people that have been with us from the start, and for those who are now joining us on a combined journey into supporting organisations and their people needs.
And talking about people, I'm fascinated by people and organizations. Can you describe the sort of people behind your company and the expertise that you bring as an organization in the world of HR?
Yeah, so the team that we've got from a HR and a operational perspective, if you like, are all HR qualified. They're all experienced individuals from a generalist perspective, but we've also really lucky that we've got a number of people with some specializations. So we've got people who are focused on talent acquisition. We've got some other people who are focused on HR systems, which in the world of automation and AI is becoming quite important, who understand how processes and automation systems can combine. But everybody is qualified, and that's really important to us because that demonstrates commitment and that the advice and the support you get is qualified. And then we've also got a client relationship manager. Many of you may well have found Berdine through networking and a lot of the social work that she does. But her role is as key as the delivery. It's about making sure that the clients and the customers, future, past, and present, are all connected. That we have that ability to work with our clients, not just on the HR side, but introduce them within our network to ensure that the service they're getting is right, but also how else can we enable them to leverage the wider business community. So we've got a small team behind the scenes, which allows us to be agile and nimble and address the needs of the people that we support.
Yeah, and I like the fact you've got a mixture of obviously expertise as well as a sort of generalist, which I think is important to have at times when an organisation actually needs somebody to help with sort of talent management and future sort of planning of organisations, which is quite vital. This podcast is called Helping Organisations Thrive. That's what the intention is. That's what I do. And so I guess from your perspective, Ian, and from Lodgecourt's perspective, how are you going to sort of contribute in that way? What sort of unique sort of approaches or solutions do you offer that can really help an organisation who might be listening right now and thinking, I need some support? So how might you might do that?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that in order to get the best out of the organisation, you've got to get the basics in place first. So there's no point spending too much time on creating amazing engagement activities or creating fantastic retention offerings if you haven't got the basics in place. So you need the foundations in place, and that's what we focus on in the first instance. Are your foundations in place? So have you got the boring HR stuff, if you like, say for a better phrase, of your policies and your processes, that you've actually got something to build upon? And once you've got that, then we talk about how do you engage your employees to be retained? How can you look at your learning opportunities? And also working with middle leaders and senior leaders in some businesses of how to manage, how to lead. And sometimes leading is important, and equally sometimes managing is important. And depending on the environment and the situation, you need to have that two skill sets. So yeah, it really is around looking at the organization and then thinking about some of the solutions that will get the best out of them, and also engaging with other people, with skill sets such as yourself, Jim, in the coaching and that wider thought process. That's all goodness, because you can't be in isolation. It's about engaging around the wider community as well. So whether it's updating the way in which you interact with people, the way in which you talk to them through the recruitment process, and even if you go through the other side of it, when you lose people, how you deal with that can have a major impact into the engagement and retention of your workforce.
And I think, just for me, from a personal point of view, what struck me about you and Berdine and your company is you've got a real focus on sort of relational. You're very relational, how you approach, how you go about things, and I also have that passion behind it, and that's really important to me, is that passion for your expertise, but you do it in a relational way, and I think that's really vital, certainly. And it's not just an assumption in a HR company to be relational, because I've met many HR companies that are not relational, and I think that's quite key for me, and that's the reason we got this collaboration because we have a similar passion, and also we're very relational in how we go about things. Thank you for coming on the show today, Ian, and thank you for sponsoring it and sort of committing and sort of creating these collaborations. And I think more will come out of that in the next few months, and we'll have you on as well from an expert point of view in HR and bring some value there as well, and where you'll share your insights. So yeah, just want to say thank you, and yeah, have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Julian. Thanks for the opportunity. We're really excited about collaborating with you in the future. So thank you for the opportunity as well. So mutual appreciation for Friday afternoon.